Okay, cool. So we're going to be doing a quick deck tech of Oliver's Prism list before he goes off the Pro Tour and goes 1-2 with it.
1-2 is a little bit generous. Let's try 0-2.
0-3 drop.
0-3.
Enters the calling, then goes 1-2. We'll see how we'll see how it actually goes. Okay, cool. So we're just going to talk through the main deck list, and then we're going to talk about sideboard stuff. So Oliver, let's talk about main deck list. What do you got?
We got Prism. We got the hero. So what is currently laid out is the main deck. The main deck is our cards that I always want to see in most matchups. There are some times where I want to take some cards out, so I'm actually haven't tried it yet, but I have said fatiguing Chane is a bad idea, but I still need to test it out myself, and I'm going to side out these 9 auras. Each of these cards that you see are 3 ofs. I just stacked it, so it's cleaner. I am going to try out fatiguing Chane in the next couple of days. But we'll see how that goes.
So right now you're running a 27 aura core, right? Or is it 24?
27.
27 auras. Okay, cool.
Because you got to have the cold foils, and you got the Majestics.
But your Genesises aren't cold foils.
Well, they don't.
Are they even foil?
Yeah, of course they are.
Okay. I was gonna say.
Who do you think I am?
Okay, sounds good. So you have the 27 aura plan. I know that I heard some chatter that people were moving off of it based off of the bans. Did you hear that?
You think that I actually follow Fab stuff?
Oh yeah, true. That's true. That's true. Okay, sounds good. In terms of heralds, I think the question that people will ask is why Herald of Judgment?
Because it's extended art.
Is that the only reason?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, so if you didn't have Herald of Judgment extended arts, what would they be?
Herald of Rebirth extended art. Okay. No, honestly, I like Herald of Judgment because of the on-hit effect. It does pressure Chane a little bit. It pressures Kano, which you don't really need that much help in, and it does pressure Katsu because it does turn off their hero power.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the art's good.
Yeah, and so I imagine that most of the heralds are just there. You don't really worry about the on-hit effects other than the fact they go into Soul, right?
Yeah.
Herald of Production, Herald of Judgment. I guess Herald of Erudition is important. And then the blue heralds, you have Herald of Triumph, but only have 3 of.
Yeah, because we don't have rebirths.
Oh.
We never got the...
Would you prefer the rebirths in this slot?
Because they would be extended art, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, sounds good. How often does the -1 come up? I know there's Runic Reclamation that might matter.
Mm-hmm. It actually does come up pretty often. Some people are running Command and Conquers. Dash runs Payload, Command and Conquer, and all that other stuff. So having the -1 is actually pretty useful.
Sounds good. What do you got for your equipment? You're running the Arcanite Skullcap suite?
Yep. So Luminaris, Footsteps, Tunic, Arcanite Skullcap, my favorite Ironhide gloves, and Crown Reflection and Northern gloves.
Gotcha. So what matchups are the Ironhide gloves coming in?
Every matchup.
Every matchup?
You don't need Northern gloves for.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the basic loadout is Skullcap, Tunic, Ironhide gloves, and Footsteps. So for Arcane Berry, you just swap out this, Ironhide gloves for Northern gloves. For Kano, all you do is swap out the Skullcap, then you have Northern 2. Northern 2 is Punny. Most of your stuff only pitches for 2 anyways, so that's why you don't need more than Northern 2.
Gotcha.
And then for the mirror, you want to run Crown Reflection and Ironhide gloves. The reason why is this lets you get ahead on the board with putting down a blue aura, sacrificing a shield for it, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty much the equipment.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So let's talk about sideboard then. So I guess we can start laying out your sideboard. What matchups are you most worried about on your sideboard?
Runeblade. I cry against Viserai, which I have been for like the past, months since Everfest came out. Briar is a little bit difficult, but still manageable. She doesn't have as much go again as she used to with Ball Lightning, so playing auras against that is fine. And Chane, I have out-aggroed them with heralds and auras and all that stuff, but I do want to have a more consistent matchup, so I'm going to test all that stuff out.
Sounds good. Yeah. Let's take a look at your sideboard, I guess.
All right. So sideboard, 2 Pummels, 3 Celestials, 2 Fate for Scenes. Of course, this is still preliminary. Just testing the Fate for Scenes out. 3 CNCs, 3 Miraging Metamorphs, 3 Sync Belows, 2 Prismatic Shields, 2 Lead to Charge, and 2 Unmovables. So, since there are 51 cards in the core deck, what you do, as I've outlined before in like one of my previous deck techs, you just select as many cards as you need to get to 60 that you like. Since we have Miraging Metamorphs now, the highest I recommend for reds is 9. That way you have 21 blues, and then you end up with 9 reds and 30 yellows. Right? Is that how math works?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
How many reds are you running main board right now? 0?
0.
Okay.
I mean, I put Miraging Metamorphs in every game, but it's easier to just take out all the reds because I don't like reds in my deck.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
So let's go through the basic matchups. Starvo.
Starvo.
What's your game plan against Starvo?
So the most successful Starvo that works against Prism is the control version. You've seen me play against Alan a bunch of times, and it seems like a coin flip. But here is what I'm putting in. So 3 Miraging Metamorphs, that's 3. 2 Unmovables, 2 Prismatic Shields, and Celestial Catacombs the fit. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, like this.
Gotcha. Why the Celestial Cataclysms? Just more block, or?
They're yellows.
Yellows? Gotcha.
Yeah. The yellows in block 3, yeah. The Unmovables, I switched from red to yellows recently because I wanted to fit more Prismatic Shields, which is more reds in the deck. Yeah. Prismatic Shields are very good against Control Starvo because while they're hitting auras, they also need to hit shields, which means that you kind of force them to fuse.
Yep, it's a classic Guardian plan, right?
So. Yep. Yeah, distract them.
Yep.
These are block 3s, and Unmovables, if there were reds, they'd be really annoying, so I downgraded them to yellows. The reason why is if they're not fusing as much, then you're not going to be as worried about the unhits, and plus you are running Arcanite Skullcap. I'm still running Arcanite Skullcap, that is, wherever it is. Yeah, I'm still running Arcanite Skullcap against Starvo. Some people are running Crown just to get ahead on auras, but I have found that Crown doesn't really work when they just high roll you, so having the extra life with Skullcap does work.
Gotcha. So with Unmovables then, I guess the main ones you're worried about are OK&Y. Are you worried about Spinal Crush? Do they still run Spinal Crush?
Yeah, they run Spinal Crush.
Gotcha. So Unmovable block 6, right?
Yeah, 6 from hand, 7 from arsenal.
So how do you block the 11 damage dominate OK&Y?
So it depends on what I have in my hand, honestly. If I have auras, I can shit out, then I would do it. If I need to block the 11 damage, then there's always the Ironhide Gloves, which is the block 2. It is a lot of resources, so it is cards out of your hand. So you do need to take that into account when you are pitching for this and Unmovable. Usually I pitch for Ironhide Gauntlets with Soul Shield, but this is a 1/2 if you're lower life, 3/4. Plus 6, and then the block from hand.
Yeah, or you have like
shield,
a shield,
or anything else. Assuming you're playing this from Arsenal.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. What about, I guess, let's talk about the mirror match, your favorite.
Yeah, the mirror match. This is actually where I take out some auras. So of the 51 in here, I do take out Arclight Sentinels, so I can put in Phantasm Poppers, put in 1 Prismatic Shield. So that means if I'm taking out 3 Arclight Sentinels, I need to be putting in 12 cards, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're putting in 9, right? So
yeah.
Then you're taking out 3, putting in 3 more, so 12.
Yeah. Yep. So like this. This is 9 reds, right?
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, looks like it.
And 6 poppers.
Gotcha.
So the leader charges are for the blue auras. You get go again by playing it, but also if you need to clear out auras, then you can always play lead the charge and clear out 2 auras by throwing a herald into it or something. So it's for a catch up, but also pretty decent for getting ahead on the board as well. Only 1 prismatic shield because they do clunk up your hand. It is pretty useful for clawing back, but I'm kind of meh about it. I did take it out initially, but since I'm kind of lacking on threats, I did take out my red War Tunes, so the red prismatics do help.
Gotcha. So what is your... So actually, I want to ask about Lead the Charge. Is it only for the Prism matchup, or are there other matchups where you bring it in?
Yeah, just a Prism matchup. I did try it against Guardian for a bit. I don't like it.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll talk about Runeblade now. I guess we'll go through all three. So what is your game plan against Chane? I know you haven't tested yet, but what's your current game plan?
So my initial game plan was just to play auras or herald them down, but sometimes you don't draw your auras, and then it just snowballs from there. You just lose too much tempo, and then you just die. Yeah, I just want to try more consistent strategy. If they high roll, they high roll. If they high roll against my aura strat, then I'm gonna lose anyways. But if they high roll against my fatigue strat, then maybe I have a chance. So of the 51, I do take out everything but Parable of Humilities and Arclights. So those are, I take out the Odes, the Mercifuls, and the Genesis. So that's 9 auras I need to take out, which means I'm putting in 18. Right? So 1, 2, 3. 3 of these. I don't use these. 3 of these. 3 of these. 2 of these. 2 of these. And 2 of these. Pretty sure. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
But it does put you above the 9 reds, right? You're running 12 reds.
Yeah, but that's only because I don't plan on playing stuff. The game plan is just to block out, save your life total, and maybe play blue at the end of turn. A blue aura. But yeah, you just want to try and fatigue them.
Gotcha.
The Pummels, they could be 3 blocks. You don't need to be running Pummels in Prism, honestly, but I like to run it just because it's like a big surprise factor. But now that you guys are watching, it won't be a surprise factor. But if it ever lines up with Command and Conquer, you're pretty much golden.
So one thing I noticed that you're missing from your usual sideboard is Raging Onslaughts. Were they just not particularly good enough? Or I guess most Prisms aren't really running Phantasm that much anymore. So
the Prism Mirror is less about popping stuff now. It's more about getting ahead with auras. CNC does the same thing, but also has the on-hit effect, but it's not yellow. That's the only downside of it. But also, it makes my deck look more expensive.
Okay, sounds good.
So Raging Onslaughts do work, but I like Command and Conquer for the other matchups. So like Ninja, I run Command and Conquers. For Viserai, I run Command and Conquers and all that stuff.
Cool. Let's talk about Viserai then. Any changes to the sideboard versus Viserai versus Chane?
Yeah, so yeah, I played against John's Viserai, and since Viserai it doesn't have the OTK plan anymore, they're usually just going to go focus all fully on aggro. So you are going to have a very hard matchup. But the plan is to grow 3 CNCs, 3 Miragings, and 3 Celestials. That is 9.
Gotcha. And so,
hold on, sorry. 2 Pummels, 1 Celestial.
Sounds good.
Throw the Pummels in there for fun. I know. Someone commented, "Why are you running Pummels?" I'm just like, because I can. But yeah.
Okay, cool. I guess Briar's not super popular. Any changes to Briar, or what have you seen the prevailing Briar builds right now?
Usually the same stuff with Chane Heroic and all that stuff, but they do run a lot of 4 damage attacks, so like Snatch and Scar for Scar and all that stuff. So against Briar, I actually take out these Pummels. I actually do run the 9 reds. So I run 3 Sync Blows, 3 Command Conquers, and 3 Miragings.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess we'll talk about other matchups then. There are maybe a couple of French decks. Let's talk about Katsu. I guess he's very similar to Runeblade.
So this is my standard loadout against aggro. Sync Blows for defense reactions, against their attack reactions, and their breakpoints. Yeah, their breakpoints. Command and Conquers to slow them down, and Miragings for threat. So these are the 9 reds I always put in when for like the basic shit. So I actually run this against Lexi too. Sync Blows for defense, Command and Conquers for threat, because obviously these Arsenal and stuff, and then Miragings.
And do you just assume that the Lexis that you're facing are going to be what, Volterra Ice, DD Ice?
You have to assume. I think the better ones right now in this current meta is Ice. And this works fine against Ice. If it's Lightning Lexi, Voltaire, you might have an okay chance. There's like the 0 cost, no fuse or something, Art of War shenanigans. This works fine against it. Death Dealer, the one that Yuki made, is very, very aggressive, very hard to keep up with. I still run the same sideboard, and I have beaten some players on it, but I still haven't beat Yuki on it. So she's just on another level.
Sounds good. Any other heroes that you are worried about at all? So let's list a couple that I've seen here and there.
You need to tell me what heroes there are.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
You know I just played the game, so.
Yeah. What's your game plan against, let's just say, Oldhim or Bravo?
Oldhim or Bravo?
Yeah.
This is like old school shit.
Yeah,
but
old school. It's been 2 months, dude.
Yeah. So I run the 3 blocks with the Celestials. I run the Unmovables because they like to go face sometimes. I run the Miragings for threats, run Prismatic Shields. And that puts me at 10, so I just take out 1 Celestial.
Gotcha. Figuring out your sideboard while making the video, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess we'll just run through the gamut then. Brute, Reiner, and Levia.
Okay, so Reiner is kind of difficult, but is also a little bit easier in some cases because if you just put down double aura every turn, then you are going to force them to roll Scapskins to keep up. I haven't actually played against a lot of Reiner. I played against Travis like once or twice, but what you want to do is run the Miragings, you run the CNCs. Sorry, just kidding. You don't run the CNCs. You run the Prismatics, you run the Sync Blows, and then now that I have Fate for Scenes, I just run 1 more.
Gotcha. And the Prismatics are for, I assume, when you get intimidated like crazily.
Yeah.
You can just lay it down and block some life.
Yeah, because in response to the Intimidate trigger, you can always play the Prismatic Shields and just, it's just good to have.
Cool. Sounds good. Levia then. I guess you haven't played too many Levias.
Yeah, I would probably take out the Prismatic Shields. I don't think they're that great against Levia. So I would still keep in the reactions. I'll probably keep in, screw it. Let's go with the basic stuff. Sync Belows, Miragings, and CNCs.
Gotcha.
Because CNCs will pressure when they want to go off, set up. The CNCs is great against them.
Yeah, I feel like most Levias are currently running the Claws build. So if you do see any, I assume you can just run against the aggro. You should be mostly fine. I feel like the matchup probably, in the hands of a good Levia player, it is probably a coin flip based off of how they roll Scapskins.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad. Okay, cool. What other classes? Warrior. Yes, Dory.
Dory? Run this.
No Fate for Scenes?
No Fate for Scenes.
You're not too worried about the reactions then?
Yeah. You can assume that they're going to be Axis, because Axis is currently the way to go right now.
Yep.
So I used to run unmovables against Dorinthia, but I don't feel... I mean, you could, now that they're yellow again, but Simple is just a lot easier to play.
Yeah, and they don't snowball anymore, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So do you take out Arclights still, or?
No, Arclights are so good. Yeah. Because they still, sometimes they have to play a non-attack action, and then if they play something threatening like Steelblade Supremacy, Spoils of War, or anything else, then...
Gotcha. Well, I guess we'll talk about the Dark Horse next. Dash?
Dash? Take out Synchlos. Run the Pummels. This.
I suppose the Pummels are to reduce their possible high octane turns?
Kind of. The Pummels is to kind of push Erudition over their armor, because they have a lot of 2-block armor with Teklo Foundry Heart and Arclight Skullcap, but also the CNCs, it can get them off guard.
Yeah. And they usually are still like either 0 to 60 or an item there, so it's usually pretty good to take.
Yeah, and also they can draw items, which prevents them from actually blocking. So
yeah, true. Okay, cool. I guess Azalea.
Azalea? I don't know. Let's go with the basic shit.
Yeah,
right here.
I think so.
Sync Blows for defense reactions. They might run Dreadbore, which obviously the Sync Blows would be bad against. You also run Prismatic Shields if you don't really care. Honestly, I played against Kenny a bunch of times with his Dreadbore, with his Death Dealer. You don't need the defense reactions.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Kano? I guess we talked about it a little bit. But...
Yeah. Kano, since I don't have any more Red War Tunes, I'm pretty much running Pummels, just to get over the Arcanite Skullcap sometimes, and 1 Prismatic Shield.
Gotcha. That's surprising that you don't run Command and Conquers, because you usually try and bank something in Arsenal, right?
Yeah, but thing is that, I mean, yeah, I guess you could run it if you really wanted to, but sometimes you just want to sit down a blue aura or just have like a blue in hand. It's just more blues, more yellows, which is just a better time. That's
Gotcha.
all.
Sounds good.
Not that I'm putting any blues in.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll go through the Monarch heroes next. We talked about Levy, we talked about Chane, talked about Prism. Let's talk about Bolton.
Bolton? Let me show you my old friend. The 9 reds. The classic.
The classic. Sounds good. And then I think that's about it, right? That's all the heroes.
Yeah, because Bolton, so Raiden, Command Conquer is going to be putting pressure on both Raiden and Centauri Sabers. But you can pretty much just outrace them now.
Yeah.
Because they can't clear auras as fast.
Yeah, the Raiden does help with clearing auras, but it's not. You can't deal with 2 auras per turn.
Yeah. And Parable is MVP.
Cool. Sounds good. Any other possible sideboard tech choices that you considered that you aren't running?
Impenetrable Beliefs. I've talked to Yuki about it, and it does bring me back to my RTN days because that was the tech card that I wanted that I put it in. But yeah, blue Impenetrable Beliefs instead of Pummels if you really wanted to fatigue Chane better, more consistently, and the Pummels, these being blue, and eventually blocking for 4, and also helps you play your unmovables.
Yeah.
So that is, if you don't want to play Pummels, then go ahead, run the Impenetrable Beliefs.
Gotcha.
If you want to run the Fate for Scenes, then.
So Tyler's original chain or anti-chain build ran Sigil Solaces and other defense reactions. Would you consider that this time, or do you think Chane can just play around that now?
Sigils are too slow. Yeah. Funnily enough, Seeds got banned, but Chane still stayed as fast. Right. So.
Yeah. I mean, he got other tools, right?
Yeah.
So.
It's fucking hell from beyond.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else you would like to save?
No, not really. This is your idea.
Sounds good.
You put me up to this.
Okay, sounds good. Well, you can thank me for this this conversation if you guys wanted to check out Oliver's deck. I assume he's not going to change too much of it. If anything, he's going to add Impenetrable Beliefs. So if you ever are up against Oliver and during the Pro Tour, you know exactly what's in his deck list, and he doesn't know what's in yours, so you already have advantage.
Yeah.
So you can kick him out of the Pro Tour faster so he can play in the Calling and hopefully win that Gold Foil Tunic.
No, don't say that. You're going to jinx me.
Sounds good.